Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. On today's episode, we're having a brief chat about the loss against West Ham, and then we're also going to look forward and look ahead to the Arsenal game on Saturday. But before we start, we've got a giveaway. We've got a shirt giveaway. This season's shirt, either home, away or third, plus printing. You can pick whatever one you want. You can pick whatever name you want on the back. All you've got to do is subscribe and then comment #UpTheVilla or anything in the comments section down below. So shirt giveaway, all you got to do is subscribe and drop us a comment. My little kit watch, this little bad boy, vintage fleece, new purchase. If any of you know how to delete eBay or Depop off a phone permanently, me and Ryan especially would like that help, because my shirt spending at the minute is atrocious. I literally need help. I mean, I asked Ryan for help the other day, and then he starts sending me a spreadsheet of all the shirts he's ticking off on his list. So we've both got big problems. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, we're having a mare, aren't we, mate? You asked me for a bit of support, and we're sort of egging each other on.
I know.
I think the missus will be putting me on the transfer list, mate, if I carry on.
I've got a little Bosnich goalkeeper shirt coming in an extra small, hoping that comes up a little bit bigger. So we'll keep our eye out for that one, and if I can fit into it. So in all seriousness, we lost to West Ham 3-1. What did you make of it?
Well, the better team won, really, Luke. I thought we looked lethargic all over the pitch. There were so many misplaced passes. It was driving me mad. I hate sloppy balls, mate. That don't sound right, does it? Sloppy balls. But yeah, I hate them, mate. And it drives me mad. And I was getting frustrated watching the game. But today, I look at it and I think, we've come back from COVID isolation. We've been playing every Wednesday, every Saturday. We've done an awful lot of travelling as well. We've been Man City, Burnley, Southampton. So it's took a lot out of them, and I think they just looked physically and mentally shattered yesterday. And I think that sort of transpires to the bench as well, Luke. I think, there's not much preparation gone into these games, because I don't know the routine, but I'd imagine Thursday they'll probably come back in a bit of warm down, light training. Friday they'll have a training session, and it's the game again. So there's not much preparation time. And my slight concern, Luke, is I'm not seeing any tactical reaction off the bench during the games. Like the Burnley defeat was all over in first half, probably the best I've seen us play this season. But the second half, Sean Dyche mixed it up. He could see where it was going wrong. The long balls weren't working. So, they are long ball merchants, but they put the balls out onto the wings and pushed our fullbacks back. And in turn, their whole line moved up 10 yards, and the second half, they overpower us. They get 3 soft goals. And yesterday, West Ham come with a game plan to nullify Jack, 2 right-backs on him. If you come inside, Declan Rice was there. They pretty much had 3 blokes on him. And I know Grealish would love that challenge. He'll take them all on. But it was working, and we didn't do anything to change it. Even half-time when we swapped Traore for El Ghazi, I thought you could have put Traore on the wing and stretched him a bit and moved Grealish and Barkley over to the right and let them cause a bit of chaos over there. Give West Ham something to think about. And I just didn't see it. But ultimately, mate, it was just a bad day. It was just a bad day at the office, and we looked for a reaction. But, Luke, what is going on with some of these halves? So we're having an absolute mare in some halves. And look, Martinez had a bit of a shocker yesterday. And in 20 games, that was his first shocker. And if he has another shocker, it makes another mistake in another 20 games' time, then buy that all day long. But we've had 50% of our games, we've had clean sheets, but we just seem to have a complete mare when we concede. And we're going to concede 3.5.
Yeah.
Leeds, Southampton, Burnley, West Ham. It reminds me of last season of old. And when we went 1-0 down yesterday, I didn't feel we could get back into it. Yeah. Even when we got the goal, within a minute and a half later, it was game over again. So it was just a bad day. And I think if you look at West Ham, they had a bit of a mare against Liverpool, and they come back all guns blazing. And I think you can expect us to come back all guns blazing against Arsenal.
I agree with you, and I think as fans reacting to, we've got to judge it based on what we've just witnessed. We can't. I don't want to think. Keep saying like, oh, we're having a really good season. Blah blah blah. 3 games now we've not played very well in. But barring the first half against Burnley, we lost to Burnley. We didn't play that great against Southampton, but we won. And we weren't great last night. So 3 games where we haven't really played that well. A slight worry of what you've picked up on as well is when we're bad, we're very, very bad. And that's a worry. It's like at 1 minute we look like AC Milan at the back in the 90s, a brick wall, nothing gets through us, and then at times, once one goes in, the floodgates open and we fall into this hole of where we just look on the ropes all the time. And I think it's just a balance. I think, like you say, we've played that many games in quick succession. We've not been on the training pitch that much, I don't think. If you're saying, like you said, Wednesday, Saturday, hopefully, after Arsenal, it's one a week where we get that rest time, we get the preparation back, and we can really kick on. I think the frustrating thing for me is seeing where we are in the league and where we're close to in the league. That's my worry, my concern is that we're so close. We just need some levels, don't we?
Yeah, it's a case of it's a case of not wanting to let this season go to waste, isn't it?
Yeah.
We didn't expect to be here, and it's bloody brilliant that we are. But now you're here and you're having a sip of the champagne, mate. We don't want to go back to the water, do we? We want to just try and make it count. And what season are we going to smash Liverpool and go and beat Leicester away and Arsenal away? It would just be great just to make it count. And it's only little tweaks, isn't it? It's only little touches. We're virtually there. But
yeah. See, I know you've gone and got that passport and checked whether it's in date. I know you've done that.
Standard, mate. Standard. I'm even looking at flights.
But so moving on then, Arsenal. What do you think we need to change then?
Maybe it does need a freshen up in the middle, because West Ham did walk straight through the middle of the park. No fault of Watkins, but a couple of times his hold-up play, he lost control of the ball. And from that position on the edge of their box, they went and scored 2 goals and just totally bypassed our midfield. So I think Dean Smith said in his press conference after, didn't he, that maybe he made a mistake by having one holding midfielder, swapping from 2. So maybe go back to 2 there and just get a bit more legs and a bit more energy in the middle.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that change is needed. Let's see what Sanson's all about then, I think. Just it's his time to go in there. And how nice would it be to do the double over Arsenal?
Oh, it'd be fantastic, mate. It'd be fantastic. We're going for a hat trick of wins against them. And I don't remember ever having us being in a position to beat them for the third game in a row.
And I think we just got to get back on track, get back to winning ways, and kick on from there, basically. So thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries, mate. Nice one.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa, mate.
So next time we'll bring in Seb. So what did you make of the game yesterday? And then what are your thoughts, emotions going into Saturday's game against Arsenal?
Yeah, it was a really disappointing display last night. I think we never really turned up. West Ham arrived and they knew what they were doing. They were organised, they were tight, they were compact at the back. They doubled up on Grealish. I think they had someone man-marking Grealish the whole game, if not 2 players. So that really took him out. And normally in that situation, you'd look to the likes of Barkley to make a difference instead, be the one to drive us forward. But I think Barkley had a disappointing game last night. I feel as though he wasn't able to step up when we probably needed him most. That allowed them to gain momentum and get on the ball and really dictate the tempo. It looked like they were the home team at times. And yeah, we just never turned up, as I said. They got their goal and then they got their second, and that really put them in a good position. Then that allowed them to sort of sit back, and I think that's where we scored our, consolation now. the one time Grealish managed to wriggle free and he produced a brilliant assist for Watkins. And then they put a seal on it late in the game. And, we didn't deserve to get anything out of the game. So as disappointing as it is, at least we can't complain.
So, I mean, a question I'll ask you then. So, what do you put it down to yesterday?
I think there's a question of fatigue, 100%. I mean, we've played, I think, 5 games in 11 days now, or whatever it was. I can't remember it off the top of my head. So I think fatigue is going to be a big, big factor. But I don't think you can put it all down to fatigue. I think certain players had poor games when we needed them to really step up. Like I said, Barkley, there were others included, Anwar El Ghazi. He's been out the team in recent weeks, but he came in and then failed to make that role his own, subsequently being subbed off at half time. They came, they focused on Jack, and they did that really well. I think David Moyes drilled them really well. We just never got going, really, and we've just got to hope that this doesn't become a regular occurrence, because we've had 3 performances now where we've looked at it and we've gone, that's not usual.
No, you're right. And I think I don't really want to be really, really negative, but there are just a few little things that are now popping up in like the back of my mind where I'm starting to think, there's a little bit of a pattern appearing. One thing that I don't want us to be is that team this season that's had a real brilliant first half to the season and then is completely non-existent in the second half of the season. I always look at a team like Crystal Palace, and they're always that sort of team. They do enough and then they drop off dramatically. And I don't want to hope. I hope we're not that team. My other thing is that I feel at the minute when we are off it, we're well off it at times. And it's not just one player that will have a bad game. It's sort of like a collective. They bring everybody's game down together. That's a little thing that I've noticed. And then another question I got for you is Barkley's been so dynamic at times. He's won us games. He's a brilliant player when he's on his day and when he's bang at it. But like you've just alluded to, like yesterday, where he wasn't, how would you feel about signing Ross Barkley for the figure that Chelsea are going to want for him based on the way he's played so far this season? What would your thoughts be on that?
It's a really difficult one. Like I said, again, I think I've had conversations with Justin about this. I mean, we've been going back and forth, whether that's in the UTV podcast WhatsApp group or just the two of us. And we both can't make our minds up on it. I think he's a big Barkley fan. I mean, I can appreciate his quality. When he's on his game, he looks really good. But he's at that point now where he's had a big injury and it seems to have affected him. Before the injury, I'd have said probably, yeah. But do I think he's played consistently to a high enough standard that would justify spending a big fee in the summer to bring him in? Probably not. I mean, it's going to be really difficult deciding what kind of figure Chelsea are going to want. It probably will be lower now that Frank Lampard's not in charge. I think Thomas Tuchel probably won't have the same influence on him that the ex-Chelsea boss did. So whether that would advocate bringing his price down lower, you don't know. I mean, look, there's still a long way to go in this season. And if he manages to pick his performance up back to his best, I think, yeah, go for it, sign him, because he's a top quality player. But we've got to see, this is the important part of his loan deal now, where we see whether he's really up to it or not. And just touching on the points you made earlier, I think although it's disappointing that we can see some, slight hints of disappointing results, I think it's better to be shocked when we lose than shocked when we win. Because I remember being sat here in a position last season where we'd turn up once every month and go, oh, bloody hell, that was a really good performance. I wasn't expecting that. Now we're sat here disappointed because we've lost a game. And I think that shows I'm going to say this so many times over the course of the season, the progress we've come in this year is magnificent. And I think the fact that we only just stayed up last year and to where we are now, where we're going, we don't want to be an inconsistent team. We want to consistently put in good performances all the time. I think that's a credit to the club.
Yeah, definitely. We just need a run and we need a bit of momentum now, I feel. We need to just get back on track, get to winning ways. So looking at it, Arsenal on Saturday, how are you feeling about it? Any changes that are needed? Where do we change this lineup? Because I do feel like we need to change it somewhere.
Yeah, we possibly do need changes. I think that's something we've lacked so far this season. I think Smith, if I'm going to have any criticism of him, is that he doesn't chop and change when he probably needs to. He knows his best team and he likes to stick to that. However, it would be nice to see Morgan Sanson get an introduction because I think our midfield in recent weeks has been overrun far too often. Possibly out wide as well. I don't think El Ghazi's going to retain his place. Obviously, Arsenal are a very attacking team, so it'd be interesting to see if Trezeguet comes in to almost weather that storm a bit. Other than that, I can't really see too many changes. Arsenal are a good team. However, they've just lost their starting keeper, and we know the troubles they've had with their backup keepers since they sold their best keeper to us. So whether that will be Matty Ryan, who I know Brighton fans were very shocked to see him get such a big move after quite a few disappointing performances this season, or whether that's Runnison. Obviously, we haven't seen much of Runnison in the English game. I think he played once against City in the Cup, and he didn't look too good.
No,
I think it was a poor performance, but it'll be interesting to see who they start because they've also got David Luiz out. He's suspended as well, so they're not going to be turning up with their strongest team. And I think if we manage to turn up, I think we could put a few goals past them.
hopefully. I do feel like you say, I think Sanson needs to play. I think this season, one of our strong points has been central midfield, and I just feel like at the minute, like you just said, it's getting overrun a little bit too often. So I think a little bit of a change in there would be really good. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Seb. It's been great.
No worries. Hopefully, we're talking about 3 points on Saturday.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
So I'm delighted to say we've got Justin on to talk to us about the Arsenal preview, and then obviously to answer all of the fans' questions that have sent them in and their thoughts as well. So moving on to Arsenal, what are your thoughts for that game?
I'm glad it's so quick, to be fair, after the game the other night, West Ham game. I think we need it. I think although it's probably going against us a little bit playing so quickly, I think the players, they all want to play football, don't they? As we did when we were kids. If you lose the game, you just want to get out there and play again. So I think it'll hopefully go in our favour that we're going to get out there and try and right it straight away after. Another tough game. They've got a couple missing, haven't they? We're in a little bit of a dip at the moment, so it's a hard one to call, isn't it? But I'm just glad. I'm just love watching us play. I know the result didn't go right the other night, but I'm just love watching us. Absolutely. Who doesn't love watching us at the moment? We're such a good side to watch. We're going to have ups and downs, aren't we? We've covered that a few times now, but it's just going to be great. I can't wait for the Arsenal game, to be fair.
Good stuff. So we've got some questions from the listeners of the podcast. I mean, at one point it was looking like it was going to be about your life story. So we'll start off with the first one. So what's Justin's favourite baked potato topping?
That's a real tough one. It's a very personal choice. As I know over the years, nearly 40 years in the business.
If only you owned a potato shop.
I know, finally I had one, yeah. Cheese, tuna, sweet corn and coleslaw. There you go.
Really? That's Alex's favourite at work. That's so random.
I think I talked her into it, to be fair, mate.
Really? Cool. So Luke, who appears on the podcast as well, he's asked, what would your team be for our next game, considering the performances of the team against West Ham?
Tough one, isn't it? Because he doesn't really like rotating that often, but I think he's probably going to have to be forced into it now. I think they looked a bit leggy the other night. A lot of games in a short space of time. So I think after a loss, it's easy to change the team around, isn't it? So I do expect one or two changes for the game against Arsenal. Possibly Sanson if he feels he's ready for it. Nakamba, maybe. I don't know. There's players there that haven't done themselves any harm when they've come in and played for us. So there's definitely options, and I definitely see him changing it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like we do need to mix it up slightly. So Nick on Twitter, one of his thoughts is hysteria, particularly the Ming slander, needs to stop. Seems like some people underestimated Moyes and West Ham. They're a good side and are under a good manager. I think we said it in the preview that obviously we were down there last season. They were, Southampton were, and we were all, challenging in the top half of the table. So we were all aware of how good a job Moyes has done, and like he says, they are a good side, and they really did a job on us in the game. So Aston Villa fan page, do you think Villa should have signed a backup striker in January? I think this comes off the back of the Birmingham Live tweeting that Wesley's still struggling with sprinting at the minute. So what are your thoughts on us not signing a striker? Are you worried at all if Watkins is out?
Yeah, definitely worried if Watkins gets injured, because he's very quickly becoming one of our main players, isn't he? And he's so important to the way we play as well. There's no one else in our squad that, if he was out, could do the job he does currently. It definitely looks like we're not going to see Wes hardly at all this season, if at all. So yeah, was I surprised we didn't bring the striker in? Not really, because I don't think, it's the quietest window ever, is it, this January window? So there's obviously a reason behind that. It's very hard to buy permanent players. There was one or two half-decent loans knocking about. I think maybe we could have pushed and got a loan in to help out, because Davies doesn't seem to be, up to speed. So I was a little bit surprised. I think it's a gamble. I think it's a calculated gamble. We're out of all the cups, so we have only got league games to worry about. And after Saturday, we're not really playing twice a week for quite a bit. So hopefully we can keep Watkins fit, and then in the summer we can go really big on a striker, because we definitely need another one.
Yeah, I think you're right. When you're mentioning it, the games after Saturday, it's one a week, so that should do our squad the world of good. With Smith, how he likes to pick an unchanged 11 most weeks, so that should work. And I can't imagine we're doing much training at the minute. Do you know what I mean? It's like
it's recovery work, isn't it? Yeah.
Day, and then it's a session before the game, so it's not like they're in 4 or 5 times a week working on it. So we've already touched on Sam Brogan's question: what would you change against Arsenal? But he would like to see more of an aggressive central midfielder, a little bit like West Ham have got. Is that an area you'd want or not?
I think, didn't Smith say after the game he tried a 2 and a 1 when he thinks he probably would have been better with hindsight going with the 1 and a 2. So I think he means by that he's 2 holding and 1 in front, or 1 holding 2 in front. So yeah, I think he took a bit of a gamble with that, and with throwing El Ghazi back in, because I think Traore's in fantastic form at the moment. So I think he'll definitely look at that, and I think he almost admitted to after the game he probably got it a little bit wrong as well. And West Ham were very good as well. So I think he will change it in the midfield, yeah.
Yeah, they are good. Noel's asked, what is in Justin's cup when he's drinking on the podcast?
Orange squash.
That's settled that for you then, Noel. And then we've got one more. So Steve's made a point of John McGinn, tired, loss of form, or has he lost his previous effectiveness? Now he's in a deeper line midfield role.
I don't think he's lost his effectiveness. I think, you can't just base it on that game the other night, because I think, Smith kept him on for a reason. He took Barkley and Louise off and kept McGinn on. So he does give you energy. I don't think he would admit that he's been up to his usual standards last few games. It's been a tough few weeks, and we've got a few tough games coming up still. So, I'm definitely not overly worried about any of our players, to be honest. I think they're in a bit of a slump at the moment, and we need to get out of it. So hopefully Saturday we can get a really good performance and we'll be fine.
So our friends at Up the Villa Together podcast have said, what changes would you make going into the Arsenal game? Do you think any of the midfield three are playing well enough not to get dropped?
Barkley's the one for me out of the three. If you're saying to me which one, who's in most danger of not playing on Saturday, it would have to be Barkley. I mean, I think I've jumped the gun a little bit when we signed him. I said, we should have just signed him permanently. But I think the more I'm watching of him, it doesn't impact games like I thought he would. He's obviously got quality. He's obviously got he's a very experienced player. And it's probably the right thing to do just to have him on loan for the whole season, just to really assess him, to have a good. But at the moment, in the summer, I would personally, if there's a lot of money available, I would try and get an upgrade on Ross Barkley, whether that's even possible, whether there's a player out there. I mean, an upgrade on Ross Barkley is a very, very good footballer, don't get me wrong. So it's going to be a difficult one to bring in. But at the moment, he's probably one with the form that I'm worried about the most. Jack playing in the 10 and maybe Trez and Traore either side of Watkins probably could be the option, I think, for Saturday. Give him something more to worry about with Jack in the middle, roving around.
Cool. So that finishes off this episode, the Arsenal preview. We've answered a lot of your questions as well. Let's get back to winning ways against Arsenal. Subscribe to the channel, drop it a like, drop some comments. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.